I'm gonna get myself whatever the hell I want. I'm never telling myself no. They say don't buy it unless you can afford it twice. I couldn't even afford it once. Still got it though.
The truth is, I don't want to be I don't want to be financially responsible. I don't think it was my calling. And I hate to walk in anything but my purpose.
In 2022, I was making $126,000 a year. 2023, I was laid off. I had no emergency fund and ended up in $72,000 worth of debt.
Okay, so today we got a classic for the channel. We're going to be taking a look at people who are living above their means. And this is not because they have no options and they have to put groceries on credit cards just to survive. Nope, we have people going above and beyond, whether they think that they deserve it or they just want to show off to people on social media. We have a lot to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's start off with this clip.
I may be 24 years old and $28,000 in debt, but I work 2 full-time jobs pretty much, financially independent, live alone, pay everything on my own. So I'm gonna get myself a sweet treat. I'm gonna get myself whatever the hell I want. I'm never telling myself no. They say don't buy it unless you can afford it twice. I couldn't even afford it once. Still got it though.
So a couple things with this one. She said that she was living on her own, paying her own bills, but then simultaneously being in $28,000 worth of debt. So it doesn't really sound like everything's getting paid off. And something we're going to see throughout this entire video, just feeding into the instant gratification. I'm going to get whatever I want whenever I want. I deserve it. I work 2 full-time jobs. However, that same line of thinking is eating into most of your salary. I also find this kind of odd to record this and put it up on the internet in the first place. I don't know what type of reaction she was trying to look for, or maybe she was just hoping to go viral to get that dopamine hit. But I asked you guys in an older video, do you know someone who lives above their means? Everyone in my family. I'm the only one who knows if I make X amount of money, I could only spend X. I have a coworker that got a jacked up truck and he didn't even know what the price was going to be before deciding to get it. Wow. My sister-in-law, she has the money to go to Disneyland all the time, but can't even afford her kids' tuition for school. My father-in-law sadly pays for it. She gets Amazon packages like crazy and throws parties all the time, while her husband works hard. Sad. My brother, his image is everything, doesn't do delayed gratification, wants everything now, and it has to be grand in size. But now we can move on to an example of some pretty absurd family spending.
I am currently down a rabbit hole with my finances, and I'm thinking this stuff is really interesting, and I wanted to share it with you guys for true transparency. I'm looking at how much I spent last year versus this year, and I'm on track to spend about the same. And to give you a glimpse of my life, I am a working mom. My husband works. We have twin girls that are 3.5 years old, and we live in Pennsylvania, not far from Philadelphia. And we spend about $140,000 a year. First time I heard that number, I was like, whoa, that seems like a lot of effing money. Like, how are we spending that much money a year? But if you calculate in mortgage, interest, childcare, food, gas, like all the expenses, that's what you get. So now I'm curious, like, is that how much other people are spending too? Or am I way overspending? Am I underspending? Like,
okay, so if you thought that clip was bad, the comment section blows it out of the water. We spend almost $140,000 on our mortgage alone, so I think you're doing great. I spend that much without kids. Hope this helps. I'm in California and spend the same, girl. Life is expensive and I don't like to cook. We live in New York and sure spend that. Life is crazy these days. Do I make anywhere close to that amount? Definitely not. Do I spend my entire salary? Yes. With a heart from the original creator. You're in good shape. We have 4 kids, spend $100,000 on a mortgage, $180,000 in tuition, and $120,000 in credit cards. The expenses are exhausting. Is this just a bait comment? I hope it is. And now we can go over to a clip with an actual lottery winner squandering all of it and going into debt.
I'm a former lottery winner. I won $1 million.
$1 million?
Yeah, $1 million on a scratch ticket in the state of Virginia when I was 28, and I'm 36. I have gone through it all, so I am a part of that statistic that, 80 or 90% of lottery winners lose it. I swore that I wouldn't be, but here I am, and
What was the take home after the...
$766,000 was what the actual ticket was worth. It wasn't actually worth $1 million. I know that's what they advertised, and then I paid taxes on that, so take home was $555.
And over the span of 8 years, you drained that $555 in your bank account to zero.
Yes, sir.
For the benefit of the listeners and a dark curiosity, can you tell us where that money went?
Obviously, I bought the ticket, so I gambled to buy the ticket, right? So that never stopped. It was more so with casinos, sports gambling, etc. Quite embarrassed by it.
Absolutely. Well, this is clearly, there's addictive behavior here. Have you dealt with that over the last 8 years? Are you still grappling with that?
Yes.
Now I know at the end of the day, $500,000 isn't something to completely retire and be able to live out your days doing whatever you want. However, I don't think I have to tell you that's a significant amount of money. But for some people, it's just never enough when we're talking about gambling. If I go to a casino with this kind of money, I could double it and then I could be a millionaire. And rarely does that ever happen. You just develop a gambling problem. Now that $500,000 has disappeared, the gambling problem's still there, and your life is spiraling out of control. The first comment here, he did not win a lot of money. I didn't realize that everybody had a spare $500,000 in their bank account at all times. Like I just said, you can't go and retire off of that money, but you could completely pay off your house or put that in investments, get returns every year, making your financial burden much easier to deal with for the rest of your life. $550,000 would change my life. There's also people that didn't know that you get taxed. Getting taxed for a lottery winning is insane. They will tax you for absolutely anything.
You decided to get a Porsche.
Yeah.
And you can't pay for groceries? What do you think this car's worth?
And I bought it for $89,000, and maybe I could get $90,000 for it. I don't think it depreciates as much as other cars.
What kind of Porsche, by the way?
A 21 Macan
Okay.
turbo.
You owe 65 on it. You could probably sell it for 64. So get rid of the Porsche today, dude.
And then what do I drive? The car that I got is pre-owned. It's not a brand new one.
So let's spend $1,500 a month on a used car. Okay. Sure.
Well, customer service is excellent, and it was only $20,000 more than what I paid for the Ford Edge.
I've never paid $20,000 a month for customer service before.
Okay, so we got a ton of stuff in this clip. So looking up used Porsche Macan turbos, a 2024 is around $43,000. I'm seeing 50, 34. This one's only $19,000 with over 100,000 miles. 22,000, 45. So even selling it for 65 after you paid 90 is a reach. I'm guessing she saw some videos about 911s holding their value pretty well recently. So she just thought that all Porsches across the board did the same thing, and that is not the case. So she's going to get rinsed selling that vehicle, but it was worth the $1,500 a month because they also have really nice customer service at the dealership. It doesn't even really make sense. And the other comment that it was only $20,000 more than her Ford Edge, does that mean she previously bought a Ford Edge for $70,000? There is no way. I mean, there has to have been a 30% interest rate then. Just a whole host of terrible decisions just to be able to drive around with that Porsche logo on the car. The top comment is just a screenshot of another Porsche Macan for $36,000. She bought a $36,000 Porsche for $90,000. She thinks the Macan is worth $90,000. $89,000 for a pre-owned Macan soccer mom car is diabolical. But if you watch this channel, you know there's unlimited content when talking about vehicles. Homeless right now, but still in a Charger. Oh man, calm down everyone. He doesn't have his priorities straight, but remember, he's still got a Charger. Honestly, I'd rather have a nice car than a house. That's a pretty sound financial decision in today's world. But whatever, who cares? Just buy anything that you want. Doesn't matter if you filed bankruptcy because you couldn't pay it back in the first place. Just go do it all again and be in the debt cycle forever.
So when I posted my video about buying a new truck after doing a bankruptcy, some people are saying this and saying that. No, check it out. You could do a bankruptcy, and the same month that you go to court and get it discharged and they send you the paperwork saying it's discharged, you go into a dealership like over here at Gresham Dodge, and they'll put you in a vehicle, a brand new vehicle. I originally came in here after my bankruptcy and they got me a $60,000 loan on a pickup truck right after my bankruptcy. So if you want any of these new Jeeps, or you want some of the new Rams that are over there, or that one right there, and you got to do a bankruptcy, do your bankruptcy. It's $1,400. You come in here the same month you get your discharge paperwork, finance a brand new vehicle, and drive off the lot and start building your credit.
Sure, start building your credit. I highly doubt the same people who just filed for bankruptcy are going to be able to afford to make payments on a $60,000+ vehicle, with obviously terrible interest rates. I also like to add, of course, the vehicles he was advertising are some of the worst cars you could get on the market. The Jeeps, the Rams, anything Stellantis are just incredibly unreliable and depreciate very quickly. Coming right out of bankruptcy and going $60,000 in debt on a truck is wild. Yeah, after bankruptcy, it's 30% interest. Tell them that. What's the point of getting out of debt just to go back into debt? Because it feels nice driving around in a brand new 2026 Ram 1500, even though you have no business in doing so. We got a comment from you guys right here. Pro ball players prove on a daily basis that you can make $10 million a year and spend $11 million, and things are going to go wrong. That's why I think financial literacy is so important in today's world. Along with so many people living above your means, it doesn't matter if you make $10,000 a year or $10 million. You spend more than what's coming in, you're gonna end up broke. And I think this is a perfect transition into some of the influencers and the amount of money they spend.
How the does this degenerate make so much money? How does he do so well? How do you afford a Ferrari? You just moved to Miami. You're doing all this crazy.
I do spend a lot of my money. In terms of my peers around me, I definitely spend more of my income than them. Like, I know other people probably save their money, but the problem is I've had such solid cash flow for literally 5 years, and it's ruined my idea of saving money to me. For 5 years, bro, I've had fantastic amount of cash flow that I'm so grateful for. Every month I'm spending 30, 40 grand, but I'm still making 60, 70, $80,000 or $100,000 a month.
Okay, so let's say that that's actually true. 5 years of solid income in the grand scheme of things, along with this kind of regular spending, is not nearly as long as you think. I know in the influencer world, you could blow up and within a few months just completely disappear and all of your income dries up. But even with him making more money than he's spending over the past 5 years, whenever that day does inevitably come and people stop watching, you're going to be so used to spending ludicrous amounts of money 24/7 that you're still going to end up losing all of it.
But like I said, I know everybody's wondering how much was I making. So I want to say during the years of 2017 through like 2020, 2021, maybe the beginning of it, on average, I think like my yearly salary was around like $300 to almost $400,000 from social media. Where the f was the money going? I had moved into a apartment. I moved into my first solo apartment, high-rise apartment in Brooklyn, and my rent there was 4.3. So there's that in rent. I was also spending an average of anywhere between like $6,000 to $8,000 a month on my credit card because I was just buying myself whatever the hell I wanted at the time. I was also spending a lot of money on all of my friends because I was making the most amount of money at the time and I just wanted to like spend it on everybody else. And then, I was just doing stupid shit at the time because I had like a lot of money. Like I would go to the strip club with my friends and spend $1,000. Like, it was ridiculous.
Now, what I would say is that I hope that this doesn't happen in today's world, 2026, because there are so many stories like this of people almost 10 years ago when social media popularity was exploding. They thought this was going to last forever. I could spend as much money as I want. It's all right. And then the popularity and money fades and they come to realize that they wasted so much of their cash. But on the other hand, the previous clip we saw of somebody spending a crazy amount of money was a pretty recent clip. So I don't know. It just seems like these clips are going to constantly roll out in the future. But we can move on to the insane thought process for buy now, pay later loans.
You got kicked off Affirm.
It makes sense to me. You're getting what you want when you want it, but you're only paying it in fourths. So like 1/4 and then 1/4 and 1/4.
Yeah, but why'd you get kicked off?
I bought my mom a purse for her birthday.
How much was the purse?
I think it was like $400.
You bring in $50,000 a year. Well, rent's only $500.
$570.
Hearing that number of rent's usually the biggest ongoing expense. So maybe it was so high that she's almost forced to afterpay for groceries. No.
I've
never even heard of getting kicked off Affirm.
I'm pretty sure it's in collections.
So the farther we got into the clip, the worse it got. One of the biggest expenses for anybody is where they live, renting or a mortgage, and her rent being only $570 would put her in a way better financial situation than most people out there today, but it doesn't matter. She ends up getting banned from Affirm because she can't pay back her loans for all the crap she's buying. Amazing. We got another comment from you guys right here. In Bulgaria, this is so common, it's comical at this point. People take out loans just to impress other people they don't care about. Cars, bags, phones, clothes, you name payment. And at the end of the month, they call you to ask to lend some money. Honestly, I know this economy is tough right now, but borrowing money from loan sharks just so you could gamble or buy something to impress someone else is just silly. But people love to share every aspect of their life on social media, even if they can't afford what they're showing off. We got another series of photos with a bunch of people hopping on this trend. I should have saved money to buy a house in 2025. Anyway, here's me at the NBA Finals. Indiana football game, we have Mardi Gras. Clemson LSU football game, the NFL playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs, a Jonas Brothers concert, another Pacers playoff game, a Bills game in Buffalo, Sabrina Carpenter concert, WNBA playoffs, Disney World, Eastern Conference Finals, and moving to another state. This goes on and on. Told my husband we're going to save money this year. And then they bought a new car, bought a house as well, ripped out the carpet, flooring, and painting, and more remodeling, changing the backsplash. Then the husband gets a brand new pickup truck, and later that same year, I get a new car because I want more room. 2 cars in 1 year, and to top it off, an 8-day vacation. We should really save money this year. Yeah, you're right. Disney trip number 1, Nashville girls trip, birthday cruise, Disney trip number 2, Disney trip number 3, and going to Universal. This entire video could have just been this trend alone. It's insane to me how little people take this seriously.
My favorite time of the month is when my husband decides to go through all of our credit cards, and I'm just getting texts from him asking what all of the purchases were.
The truth is, I don't want to be I don't want to be financially responsible. I don't think it was my calling. And I hate to walk in anything but my purpose. And that's the truth.
It's very interesting seeing these clips where seemingly people's entire personality is just overconsumption and being materialistic. We got a perfect example right here. A message to my daughter's future husband. This is how she spends Christmas with a Sephora bag on the way back to her suite at the Atlantis. We're just gonna go straight over to the comments. We're teaching ours to stay away from the materialistic ones. The middle class cosplaying as rich. The Atlantis isn't the flex you think it is. The wealth is silent. You guys are loud. This is so weird. Just spend time with your kid. Don't use them as a weird prop. OMG, Sephora, I could never dream of affording that. Wow, you're so rich. I don't know, some people online are very odd, but a comment from you guys goes perfectly with these types of clips. The fact that people want to remain financially ignorant of their situation is remarkable to me. Until one day you're going to have to face it, and it'll be a rude awakening.
In 2022, I was making $126,000 a year. 2023, I was laid off, I had no emergency fund, and ended up in $72,000 worth of debt. It took me 6 months to find a job, and here we are. 2 years later, I've only knocked down that debt by $5,000. And all of this could have been avoided if it was budgeting. The 7-year-old version of me must have thought that budgeting and making that much money was contradictory because it never crossed my mind. Looking back at it now is so painful because where could I be right now if I had just been more responsible then? Right now, my job doesn't cover I have to work doing side hustles just to make the minimums on my bills. And I have to work more beyond that, afford groceries and gas without going more into debt. My retirement plan is non-existent. And if it sounds like I'm trying to scare you, I am. Because I can't do anything to fix my mistakes. And the only thing that I can do is putting this nightmare that is my financial situation out there, showing them what can happen if you don't take care of your finances.
But I think especially that salary she was talking about that she had in 2022, $126,000, a lot of people start to change when you get to that $10,000 a month threshold, because in most areas that is a lot of money. Of course, if you live in super expensive areas in California or New York City, it's not going to go nearly as far, but for most other areas, you would be pretty comfortable. So there's no need to save or have an emergency fund. I'm getting those checks bi-weekly until unfortunately you get laid off. And I mean, in this job market, trying to find something else is going to be extremely difficult. And now she's paying her minimums on $70,000 worth of credit card debt. That situation's just getting worse every single day.
Hey, who's the Bank of America checking account?
That's mine.
Yes.
Okay, we started with $3.44. We have 2 children. That's disgusting. To do the spending that I saw you guys do while starting a month with $3.44 is disgusting.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. Children.
What can I say?
You guys are children.
Our kids love donuts.
And you won't even hold them accountable. You'll just cope giggle all day. Going out to eat. How much last month? What do you think? What would we guess?
800.
Okay. What would you guess?
1,000.
Okay, $1,122.73. What the is wrong with you guys? That is more, well, actually, with the 2 cars, that's not true, but it's close to your minimum payments.
That was also, though, because he was working 6 days on, 8 days off. Or
Pack him a meal.
he did take lunches, but breakfast and dinner, most
Pack him
nights
a
he
breakfast, pack him a dinner. I don't give a fuck. You guys are in debt. You can't hit your goals. You guys don't have anything in retirement and you have no emergency fund. Not having an emergency fund is an emergency. What are you guys going to do if an emergency happens?
It's just going to go on the credit card and the whole situation's going to get worse. Along with being responsible raising 2 children, having absolutely no money in the bank account but still going out to eat, spending over $1,000 a month is crazy. Now this next clip is an interesting one because it starts off as a sob story, but it definitely changes the more you look into it.
And then this is just kind of set us far they're behind now.
Like many hardworking parents, fiancés Arthur Swayzing and Apollonia Cesaris just wanted a night to themselves Sunday. And what better opportunity than the Jonas Brothers concert at Little Caesars Arena? They drove all the way from Monroe for their fun night out, parked right here on the street on East Elizabeth around 5 p.m. and got some dinner before heading down to LCA for the 7:30 show. But when they came back around 11:30 p.m., nothing.
Started walking back, and then we were like, well, where do we park at? We were like, we know we parked over here somewhere.
Their 2014 olive green Ford Edge had been stolen. And not only is it the family's only mode of transportation to work and school for their 3 children, it's also the only way Swayzing has been able to get to his doctor's appointments after recently finding out some life-altering news. In that car was also Cesaris' purse and wallet, a car seat, and hidden in the trunk, the children's Christmas presents.
Okay, so this news story was just hitting it out of the park. Crazy sob story. But we head over to the comment section. Detroit police confirmed it was repossessed and not stolen. It wasn't stolen. It was confirmed by the police department that it was repoed. So now it changes to you not being able to afford your car payments, but you still went to a concert, had a whole bunch of valuable items in the car along with presents. I don't know how much their payment was for the Edge, but I'd venture to guess that those Jonas Brother tickets would be a pretty solid payment. Here we have another lottery winner that actually blows the first example out of the water, $13.3 million.
My dad won $13.3 million from the lottery. He took the cash payout, so he got, almost like half of that. And I'm just gonna give you guys some more background on how, he used the money. Like I told you guys, he ended up running away to Vegas, bought a house, gambled a lot, spent a lot of time at the Bunny Ranch. He spent a lot of his money on heavy equipment like skid steers and excavators and things like that. He wanted to start a company, and he never went through with it. He got cars and, all the luxuries you could think of. He was really into sunglasses. He took trips with his new girlfriend. They went to Hawaii. So he won in 2014 and he was pretty much broke by 2023.
So this one's a little bit different of a situation compared to the earlier one. Even taking half of that from the taxes, $6 million, is enough to be able to retire and do mostly whatever you want for the rest of your life. But instead, this guy went a million miles an hour, went to Vegas immediately with the gambling, buying houses, going to the Bunny Ranch, which just is insane, had the thought of starting a construction company, getting the very expensive equipment needed, and not going through with it. So it's just a massive waste of money. And within just a few years, that's how $6 million evaporates. Unreal.
I know multiple people on Wall Street who are literally living paycheck to paycheck despite receiving 6-figure or in some instances even 7-figure bonuses. And you may be wondering, Jonathan, how is that even possible that you could receive a bonus that is hundreds of thousands of dollars or even $1 million plus and still be living paycheck to paycheck? And I'll tell you the first reason is taxes. Taxes when you make that much money are crazy. You could pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. But the second reason is these people tend to get out over their skis. They tend to indulge in something that I like to call lifestyle creep. They have a fancy penthouse apartment. They go on luxury vacations. They eat at Michelin star restaurants. They get bottle service at a club, which could be tens of thousands of dollars every single weekend, Friday and Saturday night. In Wall Street, a lot of times your variable pay, your bonus can be a really large percentage of your total pay. My largest ever bonus that I received on Wall Street was actually roughly 60% of the total pay I received for that year. And so what people do is they don't actually make enough money from their base pay throughout the year to support their lifestyle. So they actually burn cash. They spend more than they're getting every paycheck throughout the year under the pretense, under the notion that they're going to get a big bonus at the end of the year and be able to support their lifestyle from that.
And that sounds extremely dangerous to me because you have no idea how much that bonus is going to be if you even get it. The entire job market is very fickle right now. Just imagine getting laid off when you've been spending more money than you've earned for months on end and then your income goes to zero. But the top comment I thought was really funny on this video, answer, poor money management from the financial managers. You really can't make this kind of stuff up. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and I'll talk to you guys later.